because they are such a part of who I am and what I do. So everything that I have in my product line is handmade by me, and I use in my products, in every product, either botanicals that I grow here in my garden, my organic garden in the Pacific Northwest, in the very northwestern corner of Washington State, where I'm right up against British Columbia, Canada, and share that community. So either I grow them in my organic garden or I harvest them wild here on this peninsula where I live, surrounded on 3 sides by the Pacific and on 1 side by Canada. So the botanicals that I use, I've actually been using these since my early 20s, some of them, many of them. I'm 53 now, I'll be 54 in a month. So it's a really long time that these plants have been a part of my life. And the ones in the past that I used when I started, all we had to go on was information that had been handed down from generation to generation over centuries, probably millennia. And a really exciting thing about right now is that with scientific research, we can understand exactly what each plant is doing, the chemicals that they have inside of them naturally, and the chemicals and genes they're interacting with in your body, inside of your skin cells. So it's really exciting to be able to take what was always what people called old wives' tales or that type of information. People learned by doing and by seeing reactions, by seeing responses. They learned what worked, they passed this on. And so now there's this whole other layer of understanding why they work and how they work. And this is really helpful to me when I'm deciding what botanicals to choose and how to use them together, because I can come at the same so-called problems that are happening inside of your cells from different angles and get at them in different ways. So if you were to look in an herb book, it's kind of crazy because everything says, for the most part, that it does the same thing. And I never really understood that. And now I finally do. They do the same thing, perhaps, but they come at it in different ways. Some plants like calendula turn off what's called collagenase. Collagenase gets stronger as you get older. And what collagenase is it is something in your genes that turns off collagen production. So calendula turns off collagenase and it also turns on collagen. So there you have a botanical that is helping you to produce the most collagen that you can. And collagen is what determines a lot of what determines fine lines and wrinkles and essentially if your skin bounces back. When we're young, we smile, we have lines while we smile, and then we go back to normal and the lines are gone. And that's because we have collagen. We have collagen to keep our skin elastic and bouncing back. The older we get, the harder it is for our skin to keep doing that because as cells replicate over time, they have damage. DNA has damage. It's just part of life. And so skin cells stop replicating properly. They stop doing everything that they can do. And so calendula is this amazing helper to enable your skin to keep doing what it's actually meant to do. And part of that is because collagen. Another aspect of a plant like calendula flowers, and the more orange, the better, is that they also prevent UV damage and they also reverse UV damage. And when you use it at night, it's pretty amazing because even if you've been out in the sun all day and you come into the shade for up to 4 hours afterwards, your body is still behaving as though you're in the sun. There's still damage happening to cells through radiation. And so calendula helps slow that down. And at nighttime, when it's working with your circadian rhythm, just like every botanical that you put on your skin does, at around midnight, you make your most amount of new skin cells. And so what happens is that at that point of the night, you get help from calendula and all the other herbs that help you to exfoliate old cells and help you to produce new cells. And they do it faster. And the faster your skin cells can reproduce, the softer and smoother your skin is. So that all works together. And then at around 4 a.m, your skin actually, it absorbs the most fat soluble ingredients. So having something on your skin to soak up during the night to help your body do what it's supposed to do is a really great benefit. And now I understand more of how it's happening, why it's happening. Another favorite botanical of mine is wild poplar buds. And this is the time of year that I actually harvest them. I just started harvesting yesterday when I was out on a walk. Here in the Pacific Northwest, we get a lot of really strong windstorms. And what happens is after every windstorm, there are branches that have fallen off and landed on the ground. And I only use these. And of course, they're in wild spaces that are clean. And so you don't need to worry about anything like it being contaminated. I only use from the best quality I can find. And I'm using it on myself too, and on my family. So I'm really careful about quality of ingredients. But so I don't want to damage a living tree. So I would never go out and cut branches off of a tree. I will only take them when they've come off on their own. And so this is the time of year where windstorms happen and the poplar buds are just at their stickiest, most resinous point before they open up into the leaves that they'll have there. And so this particular botanical is full of polyphenols, and it really it helps your skin cells regenerate again, similar to calendula. It also brings on inflammation. It's a pain reliever, but it's much more than a pain reliever. And it helps fade pigmentation. It reverses UV damage. It takes down puffiness. You can use it on sore spots as well, bruises. It heals quicker. It's really this incredible botanical that has many anti-inflammatory qualities. This fall, I went through an extremely stressful time. My husband was away, and it was only for 11 days, but it was intense. There were things happening with my daughter at school, and as well, I was coming off an extremely busy harvest season and hadn't had a break yet. And I was taking a course that had me up in the middle of the night some nights, and then having to take care of my kids and get them to school, make breakfast, get dinner, pick them up from school, love them, care for them, talk with them, and keep my business going and keep making products. So it was a lot. And as a result, my skin took a toll. And so I actually changed from my regular routine at nighttime, which is to use the regenerating night cream, and I actually used the anti-inflammatory instead, because all of this stress had really inflamed my skin. And so what I needed to do was to use the poplar buds to bring down the inflammation. And then once the inflammation was down, then I was able to start nourishing it again with the ingredients in my regenerating night cream, which also includes calendula. There's things like wild plantain, wild chickweed, wild clover, organic lavender, wild rose, wild yarrow, all of these plants that I love that are great for your skin, and they nourish your skin cells and help them again to regenerate at their best. So I switched to the anti-inflammatory. So this is just an example of what's happening in your life really determines what you need in any given moment. And it's not a one size fits all the time. There are plants, botanicals, mushrooms, lichens that help everybody's skin, but what you need at each moment might change. And I feel lucky that I have all of them just at my disposal. So whenever I want to change, I can. But you don't need to have them all. You just need to know which one that you want to start with. And again, my soaps I make in a very similar way. I've made skin cream for years, since my early 20s. And then I kept looking for soap that I could use. And the older my skin got, the more sensitive and dry my skin all over my body became. And I wanted a soap that not only moisturized my skin and that I didn't have to put lotion on top of my skin after showering, but I wanted something that would heal my skin and nourish my skin just like the skin creams do. And so I took this same approach to my soap that I use in my skin cream. And part of why it works is that I use a lot of extra oil in the soap. My soaps are made out of certified organic olive oil and certified coconut oil, organic coconut oil as the base, but I infuse the organic olive oil with the botanicals. And then I put a really, really huge amount of that in the soap. Soap needs oil to become soap. You can't make soap without oil. But the amount of oil that you use in a soap determines how moisturizing your skin will be. And you also have to use everything in the right ratio so that you have suds and you have creaminess and you have cleaning. All of these things go together in just the right recipe. And so I developed recipes that have a lot of olive oil infused with botanicals. And so the oil sinks into your skin and it doesn't all wash down the drain. And so you carry that oil inside of your skin all day long, which means you don't need to put a lotion on top, which can cause harm on its own. And it saves that one step, which I like to save any step that I can because I'm busy and I have better things to do than to take care of getting ready in the day. Lots of other things I'd rather be doing. So I get to skip the lotion step, and that makes this soap really special. And the different soaps, they work for different people in different ways, again, because they have different botanicals in them. One other step with the soap that I didn't mention is I make a really strong tea out of each botanical that I'm using in the soap. So it's more of a tea, it's more an herbal infusion. I put a lot of the botanical in the jar. And this is botanicals that I've gathered. And then I let them steep for days. The first day I keep them probably out of the fridge just to keep the heat in there. And then I put them in the fridge so that you've just got the tea steeping. And that's what I use for the water portion of my soap. And so you've also got all the water soluble ingredients in your soap as well as the fat soluble ingredients. And so that gives you a really balanced approach. I don't use essential oils because there's nothing balanced about essential oils. They are produced by plants to attract pollinators and to deter pests. And so they smell really attractive in the air, just like they do to pollinators. But in your skin, they are irritating just like they are to the pests. And so instead of that really concentrated impact of an essential oil, because certainly there's great things in essential oil, but the things that aren't good for your skin are also concentrated. So this is where the infusions come in, where I get a whole bunch of different ingredients, naturally occurring chemicals out of the botanicals instead of just the ones that show up in the essential oil. And I make exfoliating soaps as well, which contain both physical and chemical exfoliants. Physical exfoliants are any ingredients that rubs dead skin cells off, whereas a chemical exfoliant invites your skin to shed this old skin cells on its own. And so I like to do something like with my face soap, my pink salt and calendula face soap, where you have the salt is a physical exfoliant, but then the calendula inside of it is a chemical exfoliant. And so you're working with both together. You're cleaning your skin really well, and then you're filling your skin cells with all of this nourishing oil. And it's great for older skin, skin just sort of at 30s, 20s, and then it's also really great for teenagers who have acne. And then in the case of teenagers, they can follow up with my winter blend, which has the poplar buds, which is also great for acne. And I think I'm going to leave that at this. That is a ton of information. I know I've just shared so much, and you weren't able to ask me your questions. I don't have access to the chat here while I'm on live. So if you have any questions, please send me a DM, or you can go to my website, slowbotanicals with an S on the end.com, and send me a message through my contact page there, or write me a question under my latest post on LinkedIn.